Welcome back, Geek fans. Today we are talking about Jessica Jones. Oh my God, Jacob. We had a binge watch this. It's been released on Netflix. 13 episodes. It was tough. We had to rush through it. This is about another Marvel character, kind of in the same vein as Daredevil. It takes place in the same area, Hell's Kitchen in New York.
Yep.
Jessica Jones is a private investigator. She used to be kind of a superhero, but then eventually she was captured by this man named Kilgrave, who raped her, who abused her, who made her do all kinds of horrible things because his powers are mind control. He tells people to do stuff, and then they do it. And the whole season was basically about her and Kilgrave and their eventual confrontation. Jacob, give me your thoughts about this. What you finished watching it. What did you think?
I absolutely loved this show. I didn't like it as much as Daredevil, but that was very big expectations to live up to Daredevil. But I still really enjoyed it. It had its own feel, like separate from Daredevil and separate from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It had its own feel, but you could there's still all those little connections to the universe as a whole. But it was a really good show. I loved the film noir kind of feel that it had to it, like the detective thing that was going on, and everything like down to the music just contributed to that. I really liked all the characters. Not until like episode 8 did I loved the series. Like up until that point, I only liked it, but I felt something was missing, and then I found out that it was Kilgrave, because once you see him and Jessica finally interact with each other, that's when I felt like the show came together. So that was my favorite part about it, was him as that. Just David Tennant played that character perfectly. Like he was almost as good as the Kingpin in Daredevil. I don't think he was that good, but he still did a really great job. But what did you think about it?
Your summary is pretty much my summary. I didn't like it quite as much as Daredevil. We're gonna go into that a little later. A couple things I didn't like quite as much about it, but overall, it was just a fantastic show.
Yeah.
I liked the detective feel. That was a very different feel because a lot of the episodes weren't really action oriented.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was very psychological. Like Kilgrave is a villain. And he's not a guy that's gonna be like, hey, come on, let's battle it out. You know, that's not what he does. He gets other people to do his work, and a lot of times it's always just a suggestion of violence. Like when he's at the police station. No one actually gets hurt, I don't think, in that scene.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. There's something bad could happen because of this man.
Yeah.
He can cause all kinds of harm. I liked all the characters pretty much. There's one major exception I did not like. We're gonna get to that a little later.
It might be the same person.
Probably is the same person. But overall, this was a great show. I loved Kilgrave. I think he was a great villain. Just like you, I didn't like him quite as much as Kingpin, and mostly I didn't like him quite as much as Kingpin because I thought he was a little bit too much the psychopath.
Yeah.
Right? I like that about him. It's kind of like the Joker. He just doesn't care. But the part I most liked about his character is when we first got introduced to the fact that experiments were being done on him.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting. But then they kind of pulled away from that. They're like, oh, well, he kind of misinformed you. They're saving his life. I wish they actually had kept it where his parents were just kind of assholes and said, oh no, they were actually loving people. They just had to do some bad things because they had to keep him alive.
That part was kind of confusing. I was like, so wait, which is it? There?
Right.
Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the parents kind of confused me because it went back and forth. Like, oh, is it your fault or not your fault? And Jessica Jones was like, oh, it was confusing. I was a little confused. Like, where should my sympathies lie here?
Yeah.
And the parents themselves, there's that one scene where he kills his mother, and then his dad kind of almost immediately forgets about her.
Yeah.
So to me, that part with the parents was a little not as well written as some of the rest of the show. Maybe slightly rushed. I felt.
Yeah.
But that was a minor quibble. Overall, it was great. Tell me more. Talk more.
Well, some of the things I didn't like, getting into the negatives right now, were the action scenes, because I understand that it's not an action-oriented show, but I felt like they could have been handled better. Like, it was basically just like her like pushing people and then like throwing a few punches and then it was over. I thought that those could have been more well written, I thought, or choreographed. But I loved Luke Cage's appearance in the show. I loved how he had a very prominent role throughout the series, and I was really surprised when it was revealed that he already had his powers, because I thought that was going to come later, like in his own show, like he was going to get his powers. But I I thought that added a lot to the show because it's just leading up to the eventual team up of all the Defenders. So I'm really excited about that.
And I also thought with Luke Cage, I was worried about with his early introduction. I'm like, is this going to be the Jessica and Luke Cage story?
Yeah.
But it wasn't. He
No.
played a prominent role, but he didn't dominate. Like I thought. I mean, I'm like, early on they were using him a lot. I'm like, they keep using him, but then he kind of falls to the wayside for a while.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the Jessica, the Luke Cage and Jessica Jones show. No, it's Jessica Jones. It's firmly about her, but there are these other peripheral characters that sometimes get a lot of attention. Luke Cage was a big one, and you talk about the fight scenes. I actually like the fight scenes quite a bit. Not as much as Daredevil. Daredevil's were very highly choreographed. They're that martial arts style because Daredevil doesn't have super strength. You know. I thought the fighting worked for what it was. I like the power level of Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
When you're doing a TV show and you only have a certain budget, you could not have these godlike characters. When you have godlike characters like the Flash, there's going to be points where it just looks stupid. It's just embarrassing. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But when you keep the power levels reasonable, she got some enhanced strength. You can super jump. She heals a little faster. Luke Cage, he's kind of similar to her. But he's like a slow tank. He can't move as fast. But it makes it so I can buy into what's happening.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can. It makes it so you can have credible villains too.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep upping the power level, make it ridiculous. Like I was watching an episode of Supergirl, and it's like, come on now. I'm already cringing about the power level issues where she's super powerful at one point, then they could be taken out by this person at another point, and it's kind of bizarre. Here is their power levels were consistent throughout the show.
Yeah.
Except for one scene, which I will talk about later, involving a character I don't like.
Yeah. But she like you said, she can get shot and it still hurts her.
Right.
Like we see that in the scene, and she, it makes sense. Like why can't she just take Killer out just jump over to him and take him out? But it explains that because not because she's just not as powerful, but because he has the advantage over her.
Yes.
He's one step ahead the entire time. But how will you talk about that one main character right now? Because I want to get to some of the more negative. There aren't a lot of negatives, but there are some I want to get to. So
what do you want me to talk about?
That one main character.
The one that I don't like?
Yes.
Robin.
Yeah, that's it. That's the character.
That's the character. She did not work. Never worked in the show. As soon as she was introduced, at first it wasn't a problem. She was this weird, quirky side character. And she was used for jokes, and it was fine. As soon as they made her actually integral to the plot, every scene she in really just fell apart. And the worst episode of the show and the worst bit that happened in the show was when Robin somehow inexplicably managed to convince the other Kilgrave survivors to go to Jessica's house and attack her. Yeah. And then Robin managed to knock Jessica unconscious. What?
Yeah. She had 2x4 and hit her over the head. That would just hurt her, wouldn't have knocked her out.
She gets hit by a bus and she gets up. Yeah. I mean, that was the only time where the power level was just way off. Yeah. And Jessica was only being attacked by 3 people because she had the other guy helping her.
Yeah.
The former drug addict guy.
Yeah.
So it was just completely just shoved in there because they wanted a plot. They wanted a way to get Kilgrave loose.
Yeah. There was one scene that I did like with her. It was after her brother dies, and then she's mourning over him in Jessica's bedroom a little bit. I like that one scene. I was like, okay, just leave it there, but they didn't. They just kept going.
Yeah, they kept going with the brother thing. There's a scene where she's handing out flyers with the other guy, and I thought that was pretty good. And I could see that I was shouting on the screen just tell her. Yeah. But I could see the awkwardness of telling her, and then but then she kind of knew what the truth was when Jessica threw the papers away.
Yeah.
My brother is dead.
Yeah.
But they just kept using her. Stop using her.
Yeah.
They should just.
Yeah. That was my major complaint of the show, and really it was the only big thing. Every other negative I have is very small.
So what are the other these points, that nitpicking points you're giving up?
Well, the action and there were some scenes where I thought early on where I felt that hole that was missing that Kilgrave eventually fills, where I just thought it didn't fit. I was like, there's something missing here, and it was the fact that there wasn't that nemesis. He was always in the background, and she was just going to save people, and I thought if they had saved Kilgrave to the very last episode, I wouldn't have liked the show. I thought that they were doing like the slow burn thing, but
Yes.
it didn't really work. That I felt at least like for the first 3 episodes maybe if they just done that because they eventually showed him and going, when I thought that the show really was when it was him and Jessica together.
Yeah, it's just interesting because I've heard some other people say they didn't like the way it started off, but I actually really liked the beginning, and I wasn't bothered by this at all. I actually was most bothered by the same I have for Daredevil was like the 2/3 of the way in.
Yeah.
And that was about when that Robin episode happened, where it's like they should have made it 10 episodes, not 13, and they condensed, got rid of they could have condensed some of the stuff because I felt it kind of slowed down. Because to me, I was excited about the slow build up to Kilgrave. I actually thought it was really cool, and I was thinking about how they did the slow build up to Kingpin, and I liked the hints. And then when they threw Kilgrave just out in the open, I almost felt like they did it too early, because then there was a couple of middle episodes, like 7, 8, I don't know, those episodes where they're treading water, right? So they had the dumb episode with Robin where she frees Kilgrave just because, well, we can't have Kilgrave captured yet, we can't have the showdown yet. So that kind of bothered me a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, early on, I thought the acting in this series was not quite up to par compared to Daredevil.
Yeah.
A couple of love scenes with Jessica and Luke, I thought were a little, TV romance. Like, I wasn't really feeling the chemistry, especially early on in the bar. I'm like, this is so by the books, generic TV romance.
Yeah.
It got better as it went along.
Yeah.
But at first, it was a little cheesy, and the sex, I thought they kind of used a little mindlessly. They're just throwing that in there to be adult.
Yeah, they're like, okay, Daredevil had violence, let's put sex in.
Yeah, it's adult now. It felt like a little bit shoehorned in.
Yeah, but my favorite scenes before like episode 7 or 8, when it got really good, was when we saw the flashbacks of her, or like when they were hinting at her past.
Yes,
that's what I was most interested in. And then when Kilgrave came along, I was actually like invested in the present of what was going on currently in the show. But I was really interested in all the flashbacks in the background. So
yeah, the flashbacks were fantastic because you slowly uncovered what happened to Jessica.
Yeah.
Because what happens to her? Because she doesn't really talk about it, but you experience it through the flashbacks. And pretty much every scene, just like kind of like Kingpin, when Kilgrave's in a scene, especially some of the scenes where it doesn't involve Jessica, just him doing stuff. Like the first time he enters that apartment with that family there, he tells the kid to go into the amazing.
I saw that scene before. That scene got released before the show did, and I was like, "Wow, he's going to be an amazing villain."
Yes, I remember you telling me that.
And he really was. Like, I thought David Tennant did a perfect job, and I've always liked him ever since when I used to watch Doctor Who, and there was a really very, very subtle Doctor Who reference in the show, because he was the 10th Doctor, and then there's a scene where him and Jessica are in her old home, and he was talking about one time when he was 10 years old, and then she's like, "You're not 10 anymore." So, I only saw that because I rewound to rewatch something else, and I was like, "Oh well, good jobs, writers." But
that's the other thing. I talk a lot about lazy writing, and I like that here you don't get that kind of lazy writing. I'm going to bring up 2 things I talked about in another show. First, Trish. Trish is Jessica's best friend, and it's really interesting because at first she seems to be like a non-character, but then she plays a critical role towards the end, and they make a casual reference to the martial art that she's practicing, and she says she's practicing Krav Maga. You know who uses Krav Maga?
Who?
The Israeli Special Forces. That's who used Krav Maga.
And that explains how she can actually kind of hold her own a little bit.
Right. Yeah. So they actually give a credible martial art, unlike The Walking Dead, they throw something random in. And I like these little tidbits. Yeah. They make sense. There's another point where there's a professor Jessica's chasing, and he makes a joke. He's teaching a biology class. Well, if you guys can't figure out the difference between an allele and a chromosome,
that one scene, I was like, that's so real. That's exactly what it's like in class.
Yes. Right. Even the joke he makes to someone that's interested in evolutionary biology, it made sense. I could imagine someone making that joke, right? Yeah. So they actually do this research, and I like that because it takes me out of the action when people say things that just don't make any sense, right? It's a real world to live in. They live in a real world, except for one thing. Here's one thing that bothered me that did take me out of the action: the swearing. Just say fuck.
They can't.
It's stupid. It doesn't make sense.
They have to keep that. I know it's already rated R, so why not just say the F word? But it's like That's like the one thing they can't do for some reason.
It doesn't make sense. And there's a couple scenes where it really hurts the drama. There's a scene where, I'm not sure if it's true, one of the characters says, "Screw you."
Yeah.
And I'm like...
Yeah, I saw... And then before that, it worked because Kilgrave was telling a joke, but he was like, I once told the guy to go screw himself, imagine what happened. But
yeah.
that kind of worked a little bit because it was a joke, but still, like, not why not just say everything? You can say shit, you just can't say fuck. I don't know.
And they try to throw on goddamn. The thing is, people don't say goddamn as much as they say fuck, so it's weird hearing it that many times.
Yeah.
Especially for some of these people, because usually certain communities use the word goddamn more than other communities, and like some like the fancy lawyers and stuff, I'm like, I can't imagine talking like this. It takes it out of the act. But anyways, I'm nitpicking.
Yeah.
This show's awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I loved all of the little hints of the comics, because apparently this was like very close to the source material. Like that was exactly how Jessica Jones' accident happened that gave her powers, and in Luke Cage made a subtle reference how he got his powers in Experiment, which in the comics was a variation of the super soldier serum. So that's how he gets his powers. Yeah.
I like how they laid down groundwork for, I guess, some other superheroes. Like, I guess Triss is Hellcat.
Yeah. I don't think she'll ever like become Hellcat, but I think I think we will see her fighting a little bit more.
And I also like the scenes with evil Captain America.
Yeah.
Doesn't the guy look just like Steve Rogers? Yeah, when he had the jacket on, the hair.
Yeah, there's even a scene where I was watching this video where they pointed out where he's going incognito, wearing the exact same clothes that Steve Rogers wore in Winter Soldier. When he was going.
I just keep referring to every time I see him, like, oh, it's evil Captain America again.
I looked up that character in the comics. He's a villain called Nuke, and he actually has a American flag tattooed to his face. So.
They're setting the groundwork. He's going to be Nuke, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already... He takes pills and he gets super strength or something.
And they're red, white, and blue pills.
Obviously.
And he has the American flag lighter that he uses to burn those bodies. But I really like the show, and I really like him as a villain too.
Yeah.
But I really want to see more of him.
Yeah, they're setting the stage for him and to do more stuff with that covert group.
Yeah.
They laid some hints for the second season.
Yeah, and I loved Kilgrave's end. I thought that was a very good ending to his reign. Like how like she knew how to manipulate him by the end.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. You're right, Jacob. Good insight right there. Yeah, because she manipulated him like he manipulated her.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I just love how she just grabs him and just smile, and then...
Bam, yeah. Right. And it was a clever play on how they had Trish to be the decoy, and she's wearing the headphones so she couldn't hear him.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a great show. Go and watch. If you like Daredevil, you'll probably like this, because that has a similar dark tone. It's just a great show. We're reviewing this, right? Give me a number, Jacob.
This is going to be a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. Like, Daredevil was pretty close to a 10 out of 10. This is just below it.
I'm giving this 4 stars. Daredevil, I think I would give 5 stars. It's really good. I didn't like the Robin character. I thought some of the acting overall, the level of acting was slightly below Daredevil, especially early on with some of the romance stuff. Some of the scenes were a little stiff. But either way, it's a great show. Go watch it. Check it out. I'm so excited for more MCU stuff. Folks, comment below, tell us what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. We've been Geeks at the Movies. Whoop!